Would anyone like to share what was in their silence this morning or a word for the day?
Did anything of what I said come through? Because I thought my mic was unmuted, but I think it was on mute. Oh, shit.
We hear you now.
Okay. So I've got to start all over again. Okay.
Well, here, hold it for a second. I just want to
Sure.
the silence from the question till then, even though you were talking, yeah. None of us that heard it, yeah. It's like I was just acknowledging for me the creative tension. Triggered by a focus and space to create it.
Space to create the tension or to feel the tension.
Yeah, the tension is just what's in the middle.
Yes, okay.
It just is. It's what we're doing with it, right, is part of the creation. It's like either we're creating it either way. You know, it's just it's like the space was the space is where the creation comes from. The tension is where that space or that creation comes from. And what matters is what does each of us do with that space, that tension.
And that gets informed by how it makes us feel or how we choose to feel about it.
And then choose to act.
Yes. Yeah, because the feeling usually informs the action, but you've got space also around the feeling. So you can be feeling something and acting in some ways, well, differently to how you feel because of your choice.
Yeah, when you're aware or intending or can identify the difference between the two.
Yeah.
That's the problem most of us have, is unable to separate the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so go I'll go quickly because
No, don't go quickly. We got a lot of time.
I know, but I don't. I'm sorry, I have to leave early. So okay, so my word is transmute, and it's on the heels of yesterday's expansion. And I had a really wonderful, expansive experience in a breathing workshop yesterday. And part of the experience was what I have in meditation often. And it's almost like I feel like I go onto a completely different plane of existence, I call it, be, because of how I feel and what else happens to my senses, like what I might hear and what I might see. And so in the visionary part of it, what it was almost like being in a dreamscape where form is there, but it's not all that recognizable to me. And so I don't have words for it. And so what happened was that I go from one thing to another. And when I move from one space or form to another form, the form that I move from dissolves. And then I'm in and or on or attached to the new form for a bit. And then another one comes along and I go from the one that I'm with to the next one. And the word transmute for me is a dissolving of the old and a facilitation and a movement with the new. And so as I went to bed last night, I was thinking about it again. And I thought to myself, so why don't I do this in my imagination during the day in my awake mind? So that's my word for today. And I'm going to experiment and see how I manage to do that with awareness, because maybe we do it anyway as we change, but we just don't manage to get as much as we could because the awareness, the full awareness isn't there perhaps.
Mm.
So thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you, Alison.
Have a great day, guys. I'm going to stay on for a bit, but I won't be talking much.
Okay, thank
Have a
you.
blessed day, Alison.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you, Alison. I heard an experiment for today. It's like attaching to, holding on to. It's like just to be aware. Moving, drifting, intentional, attention. Focusing on a project and then moving to another, being in a conversation and then starting another one. It's like all places that we transmute or change that we could be aware of. And in the awareness, now becomes the space to say, oh, to fill in whatever. And one of the most, well, one I say is, what's my intention? What do I want here? I'm not very good at it. I don't do it all the time. It's a practice.
Mm.
It's like a practice of curiosity. Can we carry curiosity all the time with us?
Everything is sort of a practice. even when we're doing
Mm.
breath work, we're doing something we actually do each day, but we're focusing on how to breathe. So we're practicing a different way of breathing.
Yes. And it's different when we put the focus on it, right? When we call it out,
Mm.
it like brings it into, it's like it creates a space when we pull it out and say, oh, there it is, which I think has been so important, why we relate, why we identify with things. Part of that attaching to them. Because we only can attach and identify to that which we are aware of.
Mm.
And the other side of that is we can't be aware of anything else. I mean, as much work, like still, it was came on the call an hour early this morning. Yet in my mind, I was late. It's like, huh? Why is no one on the call? And in that space, like that, so that's an internal question. Right? That's a question my ego makes up, and then it makes up all sorts of answers. And then it's like, oh, I'm an hour early. It's complete. Then it's like, phew, it was gone. Different space when I became aware of the time. I automatically put myself that I was late. It's happened a couple of times where I think 4 o'clock is 5 o'clock. Just the time just doesn't register.
The awareness changes the story.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that can be for everything. And it just happens like, I mean, it happens for minutes that it was, sure enough, now that I remember, I looked at the clock and saw that it was 4, but 4 didn't register anything. I think what I really saw was the 58 leading up to it.
So it was only 3:58 when you woke.
Yeah,
You thought it was 4:58 then in your mind.
yeah. Which put me on the call this morning about 4:03. It's like, yeah, 3 minutes late. Or in reality, 57 minutes early. Wasn't the story I was in. Wasn't the feeling that I had. It wasn't the reality that everyone else was coordinating around. It's like, oh, I know Heinz. Heinz is always on time, right? I'll keep Heinz waiting. Oh no. What's he gonna say? Think about me.
You slept in.
Right. See, all the things that come in now.
Incredible
And
how the
so,
ego always says we are the wrong ones.
hmm,
Unless you're in an argument, of course, then you're always right.
yeah. And there's both sides of it. One or the other happens all the time.
Well, at least they don't happen simultaneously.
That's right. That's a different practice. Yeah, that's a different practice.
Like my father used to say, he may not always be right, but he's never wrong. And the awareness often brings a flow to it. When you're aware of having cold feet, then you start moving them and you create a flow of blood through it and start getting heat through it. So like they say, where the awareness and intention goes, the energy flows. And it just shows how great we are at creating.
only in the silence can we see it. Can we see our tendencies? Because if we're not silent, we're just filling it with our automatic. That ego is just filling it in. That feeling that's there in the space. And we just attach to it, go with it. So fascinating.
It's like in the silence we learn about ourselves, and the ego doesn't like we learn about ourselves, so it interrupts with having something to say. But sometimes when other people speak and you're in the middle of a drift, it activates your imagination instead.
Mm.
And it's sort of like, what do you call it, lucid dreams, that you're more guided by the other's voice.
Without it, like too much silence, right? It's like you're just stuck in your own thinking. Yeah. It's not like there's a right way. It's just aware of what's going on.
Creating the right balance between the two things.
Yeah. There's nothing better than getting other other perspectives because it widens our views.
Yeah, and then
Too,
sorry, Des. Go.
When it widens our views and we're not so attached to being right or wrong.
Yes. And that's my other word is flexibility, right? And and the dance between form and formlessness. I'm going to leave for now and thank you so much for this morning. Have a great day, guys.
Have a great day, Alison. You have a pleasant day.
Bye.
Good, Alison.
It's like you're saying with the Indians who are thinking, they're not thinking, having the silence between their talks. They're creating way more balanced and much more, what do you call, calm answers in a way, that they really felt the answer.
Yeah.
But it's that program we've been taught. We need to answer quickly, answer quickly.
Yeah, and that's it, like have the right answer, right? And defend the answer.
Sometimes when we answer, we don't even have the right question because we haven't listened to the full question. We just think we know the question. So I think that thing about being silenced is listening way more to the other person and to yourself.
I think that's why like awareness appears to be one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. And that awareness is present, present in the moment, awareness of the moment, awareness of our thoughts, our feelings. Just where are they taking us? Because it's just an automatic system.
Mm.
You know, and everyone's at different places in that journey, in their awareness.
Sort of the start of everything.
The awareness is everything. You can't put a word on it. It's just like there's the silence before and the silence after. Just for me, it's in between the old and the new. I'm about to start all over. So, and I'm aware of that, but I find it difficult to put words on what I'm feeling in the between.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's the awareness that brings everything into perspective.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, like our vocabulary, where the awareness is limited to the vocabulary too.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, and the languages that we speak. You know, when we learned as a younger child a different language. I've only known English.
Mm.
And the awareness must be closely connected with the, what is called, the imagination. Because as soon as you become aware of the imagination is going, what can I do about it? How can I get through this, or solution solving? And it's not like you're looking at it as a problem, but you see a lot of different solutions to it. So a lot of the words are connected.
Or and not well understood usually.
The words are limiting when actually the the things behind the words have no limits. But we have to describe them so we can understand them. Mm. But think about how much actually get lost in the translation between imagination and word. Because we just need to put some words on it, but we don't really know what it is. Probably why we say this isn't quite how I imagined it.
Well, guys, thank you for being here and for a great day this morning.
Yeah, thanks for a great chat.
Thank you, Jesse. Have a
Have
great
a
day.
pleasant day.
Thanks, Chi. Thanks, Heinz. You guys too. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.